All right, guys. So I am at the San Diego Botanical Garden, and I'm going to be using my manual film zoom lens to give some examples, and then I'm going to use one of my prime lenses. The one thing that I love about zoom lenses is that some of them have the ability to do macro, and they do make macro prime lenses, but I have a couple macro zooms and I absolutely love them. And I have let's see, the one I have on my camera right now, it's a 35 to 105, and then I also have a 28 to 105. But they're both very different. The 35 to 105 doesn't get as close, but it's still really tack sharp. It's an old film lens, an old AIS lens, so but it does a fantastic job. Now, of course, the more modern day zooms are going to be a little bit different, but it's all good. So, I took some pictures of the turtle. When you have a prime lens, things tend to come out a little bit cleaner in the image. But when you have a zoom lens, you are able to stand in one place, zoom in and out, and you are able to basically get more of a shot without having to move your body so much. That's something to think about when you are using different lenses. Now, you can have an all-around lens, basically like an 18 to 200. So you have your wide angle, and then you have your zoom range to 200, and those are great, but you might end up getting some distortion. Distortion control works pretty dang good in other cameras, but it is not perfect. So you can adjust that in programs like NX Studio, which I highly recommend for a free editing program. It is awesome. I'm not sponsored by Nikon by any means, but I love Nikon and that's what I use. But overall, you just have to really pick a lens that you're going to be using for the day. If you're stuck with a prime, you might be pretty limited, but if you have a zoom, maybe not. All right, so typically when you are looking at a zoom and a prime lens tend to be one piece, and there's not too many moving parts. So typically primes tend to be a little less expensive than a zoom lens. Now say you were going to get a zoom lens, if you look at, say for instance, the 70-200 or a 70-300 zoom lens, you're gonna see that they're pretty hefty. They're not light lenses. Now you can also get a kit lens. It's like a 55-200 or an 18-200 zoom lens, which I'm not sure if that's a kit lens or not. I think it was for one of the cameras. Those are typically a little bit lighter, so you can get away with that. But prime lenses tend to be superior when it comes to aperture and when it comes to having it being a lighter piece of glass that you're carrying around. So they're generally more cost effective because it doesn't have as much to it as, say, a 2.8 lens would. That's a zoom, like a 24-70 or something like that. So keep that in mind when you're looking at these things. You can have really nice zooms. Like, I love some of my zooms, and they give you that versatility, that versatility. Yeah. It helps you be able to do more and only maybe even carry around one lens rather than a bunch of different lenses. So say you wanted to shoot at 50mm, but you wanted to also shoot at like 200, or you wanted to shoot at 70mm or 85mm. Any of that you can actually do with a zoom rather than having different prime lenses. Prime lenses are great because they're sharp, because they're tack sharp, and because they give you that quality that you're looking for. But they're like a one-shot kind of lens. You're only doing it for one kind of thing. Now say you're going out to a trail, in the mountains or something, and you're looking to shoot pictures of a little bit of everything. That's when you might want to take a zoom lens with you that has a good focal range and it's going to give you the shots that you want. Just make sure when you do get a zoom, you actually get a nice, decent piece of glass, something that has a low aperture and a low f-stop, like maybe even 2.8 or something like that. But you are also looking at the higher cost when you do that, so keep that in mind. Now you can also do what I do. You get like 18-55 or even a 16-85 or something like that, and then you go from that focal range up. So maybe you might have two lenses. That's something else that you can do as well. It really just depends on your budget. For me, as a beginning photographer, when I was younger, I could only afford so much. But now I get basically just second-hand lenses that are in good shape, and I usually get my lenses from MBP, which I'm not sponsored by the way. But that's where I get my lenses. I think they're great. You can also get them from KEH, or Adorama, I believe, has used lenses. If you're gutsy, Amazon. But there's different options for you. They're not as expensive as they used to be because people trade in their gear now for the newer stuff. But for me, I like to keep all my old stuff because it works very well for me. I don't need to upgrade because I still get great pictures and I love the quality that comes out of my cameras. So that's just my thing. If you're somebody that's out to go get one of the Z cameras, then go for it. They have amazing picture quality. I promote these cameras because I absolutely love the way they work. Like the D700 that I have right here. This camera was one of the cameras that was what made Nikon. I said that kind of wrong. This camera is one of the cameras that made Nikon digital back in the day. And it really pushed them forward into what they are in, what they develop and create in our era of photography right now. So, but they still work. If you find a good copy, something that works very well for you, has low shutter count, go for it, because they're great cameras. A camera is a camera. I mean, if people are willing to go back to film, film has high resolution as it is. It's like 48 megapixels or something like that. If you do the math, I'm not quite sure what it is, but people still go back to film because of what it did for them. Film has its own way of portraying an image. You can actually tell a pretty unique story with film, which is something I'd love to get back, not get back into, because I wasn't really into it a ton as a kid, but it's something I'd love to start someday and be able to start using as one of my mediums for photography. I love digital. I'm going to keep using digital, and I just believe that when you have different kinds of cameras that do different things, you can actually use them to create different types of photos. So that's something to think about as well. Maybe a lens has a different color retention that you like. Filters do the same thing, but certain lenses, like I'm using my old film 35 to 105 right now, which is an AIS lens. Actually this is a 28 to 80, sorry, that came on like the N50 camera back when. This actually, the 28 to 80 is a 3.3 lens, so it has a really good f-stop for what it is. And if you do the research, which I did, Nikon actually, there was a person from Nikon who specifically made this lens to be cheap but highly effective. The glass in this cheapo little 28 to 80 lens is amazing. It's really sharp. It just all around. I get some really great pictures from it, and I'll show you some of those pictures at the end of this video, so please stay tuned for those, because that's what's going to really show you how everything works. Like, I'm going to just put pictures throughout this whole entire video, so make sure you keep watching for those. But just keep your eyes open. There's little hidden gems out there that people talk about that maybe you can get your hands on to really, if you're just getting into photography, they can be very valuable to you if you don't have a huge budget. And that's basically what I have done. So let's keep going. Let's get more photos. The next one, I'm going to keep using my 28 to 80 right now, and just see if I can get really good pictures of that. Then I'll jump back to a prime lens, and I have my 50mm, which is a bit more. So I'll kind of show those a little bit more in this video as well. All right, so one other thought that I had when I was using the 70 to 300 today was that if you have that kind of a zoom lens, it makes it so you can actually get in places that you may not want to get into, because you might scare away the wildlife that you're trying to take a picture of. So when you have that kind of focal length, or even further, because they make even further lengths of lenses, you can actually get pictures far away and not have to be close to your subject. So if you are trying to take a picture of a bird that is a beautiful bird, just, I don't know, hopefully you guys can hear me because I forgot my wind muff today. You can actually get a picture of that bird from a distance instead of having to be right up close, which could potentially scare it away. Now, prime lenses, they make really long prime lenses too, but those are even more expensive than probably a zoom would be. So that's something to consider. But yeah, that, zooms do have the advantage in that area when you want to capture a subject from far away and you do not want to scare it. Just a thought. Alright guys, well that does it for today. If you have any questions or comments, please leave that in the comment section below this video. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, because there's that new subscribe thing up there now. And thank you guys for being a part of this awesome community. If you haven't subscribed already, I am done. I'm going to go home now and get some food. I'm hungry. But I hope it was very informative to you, and I hope it helped you guys understand the differences between zoom lenses and prime lenses, and why they're important for different things, and why they can help you in certain areas when you are taking photos. Always think about what you're going to be shooting when you're in the field, and what subjects you might need your lenses for. Kind of make a game plan beforehand. You can have a bunch of lenses, but sometimes having an all-in-one lens really does help out quite a bit. But if you're just going for portraits, maybe you'll just take an 85 millimeter or something like that. Just be thinking about, what can really help you when you are doing your photography trip, or when you're about to go on your photography trip, and just kind of think about what could be beneficial to you. Remember, lower f-stops equal more light in the long run, and basically zoom lenses tend to be more expensive when they have a lower aperture rating. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind when you're shopping around. There are plenty of used places that sell secondhand lenses and cameras that will actually be probably beneficial to you, and I'll go ahead and leave those links in the description. All the lenses that I've used on for this video, I'll go ahead and put those in the description as well, and I'll make sure that you guys find everything if you want to look it up. And some of them will be affiliate links, just so you know. So if you guys do purchase it from those affiliate links, it does help me out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it when you do buy those. Other than that, guys, I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're having fun taking photos, and don't forget to adventure, and take that time you need to get out and just be part of nature, or do something that you love. All right, well, I hope you guys are doing great. I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.
If you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel to get notified when new videos get posted. Thank you for watching this video. Please consider checking out some of the other videos on the links at the end of this video.